What made you decide to take class with me originally, and then what made you decide to go down the road of becoming doing the mentorship after the master class?
Certainly. Well, that's a long story, so I'll try and keep it short. But obviously, I think I started the way that most people do, is where we wanted to take a couple of trips a year with our family and wanted to do it in a cost-effective manner, and just was like totally ignorant on how to try and go and, how to get that done. And for me, the road was, I had gone through a couple of travel influencers, and it just wasn't hitting the connection. And then I came across one of you. I don't even know what post it was now, but I saw you and I was like, well, I like him. And so I reached out to you, and it just happened from there. You have always been so approachable, so kind, and really just an awesome teacher, like taking like really complex things and making them really simple, and just hand holding along the way. And so I was hooked after that, and being in your class, especially the hotel, that started my journey, because right around that time, there was a Hyatt Globalist challenge that you introduced to the group. And at that point, I hadn't had status with anyone. And so this was offering do 20 stays and you would achieve the Hyatt Globalist. Along with that, I was just entering how to be able to maximize points with credit cards. And I was really always very shy of credit cards. I hate debt, didn't want to go into debt, credit cards are the devil, all this. And my mindset was completely elevated from that, on how to be able to maximize our credit card offers with, our travel status and what we were trying to achieve with our families as far as traveling is concerned. And you walked me through all that. And
Yeah.
so it's been amazing.
Yeah, because when you get started, all you want to do is just get a free room, right?
That's exactly true.
Can I just get a free flight? Can I get a free flight, and can I get a free room? Like, if that just happened, that would be like blow my mind already. Like, I don't even understand how this can do. And then when you realize, you go deeper, and I think that's where you're hearing about the globalists, is like, what you could do is take that free night and say, if I can get a bigger room, and I can get that for free, and I can get that without having to pay thousands of dollars extra. So tell us about your newest redemption, or tell us about this trip. First of all, you're going to Japan now, right?
Yes, we are going to Japan, and hopefully when we see this, it'll be after we get back, because I'm always like pretty sensitive about when we're traveling and being at home. But have always desired to go to Japan. I mean, bucket list level since I was like in college, always wanted to go. And it was something that I put on a back burner. But since being into your group, I thought, well, maybe that's not such a big, like bucket list. Like this could happen while I was actually still young enough to enjoy it with my husband and my son. And an amazing deal came up, first of all, with American Airlines. I was able to secure 3 business class nonstop on Japan Airlines to Haneda from New York, and then was able to book Grand Hyatt Tokyo, Park Hyatt in Kyoto, and then at the Intercontinental in Osaka. And again, it's been amazing. So a part of your group is being able to write really good email letters as a globalist, just letting the property know that you're coming and that you're so excited. And then, my mom used to say that closed mouths don't get fed. And if there was something that you would, just cherish that would make your trip that much more special, to let them know. And if they were able to do it, that they would be able to do it. So me, my nature, I swing for the fences. I'm like, if I'm going to ask, I'm going to do it really nicely, but I'm going to swing. And so, yeah, I had one of those swinging moments at one of the properties that we're staying at. I don't know if you want me to mention which one, but I'm just.
Please do. Go ahead. Okay.
So we are part of our trip is going to land us in Kyoto, and you've gone on and on about the Park Hyatt in Kyoto and how beautiful. And I've actually even heard other travel influencers say how stunning the property was. And so I was able last year to secure the time that we're going to be there, but it was a standard room, and there's 3 of us, and it's, my son and my husband. So space is a premium when you're traveling. And so, I reached out and I'm like, hey, what do you think about this, Ben? Do you have any contacts that I connect with? How would you go about, because this is a significant ask on this level of a property, if I was trying to ask for something that was really elevated, which for us is more space. And so again, you walked me through the paces on, you didn't write the email for me, but you said like, this is how I would approach it. And sure enough, oh my God, I sent out an email, really nice, really excited, because I am, hit all the points that we talked about. And lo and behold, I got an email response from the GM, the general manager himself, excited that we're coming, so glad that he knew you, and that he bumped us up to
name property. Okay, look, folks, when there's suites, there's sometimes suites that have double doors. There's some suites that just have a number on it. Then there's suites that have names attached, like it's like so and so, and usually the word house behind it is usually pretty good.
So we have one of those houses, and I mean, like, I'm sorry that I'm like stammering, but I am still so excited, because I actually then went back and checked how much this would on the street costs for the stay. And as of today's date, our total stay, which is goose egg, by the way, market value would have been $13,970.
So Kendrea, is it worth it to take a class or spend the money to come take class with me?
I don't curse very much, but hell yeah. Hell yes. Yes and yes.
And here's the thing about it. When I thought about this, when I decided I was going to teach people how to do this, I said, they're going to have this for the rest of their life. You're going to know now how to do this, not just with this property, but every property.
Ben, let me tell you about Ben's big deal. Okay. Since hooking up with this mentorship, we have gone to Belgium, Paris, Cancun, Dominican Republic, and now we're heading to Japan. And this has been within the last, 18 months, 20 months?
Yes.
We've done this.
What's your family think about this? Like this transition? What's their reaction? I'm curious.
My husband often, like, he's amazed by it. He's just like, how are you doing this? Like, do I even want to know how you're doing this? I mean, like, and then, kind of like slightly with that, furrowed brow, like, this is all legal? And I joke with him. I'm like, absolutely. And so when I disappear on our Thursday night calls, he's like, oh, you're having your clandestine call now. And so I'm like, that's my travel group. Gotta go.
Do you feel a sense of community with the group? I mean,
absolutely, because and specifically our mentorship group, but the group that you've been able to establish on Instagram, it feels like a really small, tight-knit community. We are all helping each other. Like, on the very, very, very sparse moments where you're not available, if someone knows an answer, they'll like jump in and be like, hey, this is what I did. Maybe you can try this. It's just been really amazing. Like, I have to remember that I've been paying for this. That's how good it is. It's like, I forget that I'm paying for this, because it feels so organic, that we're just a bunch of people with similar likes, with, similar needs as far as wanting to do this cost effectively, the best strategy that's out here. I really do forget that this is on, like, and it's not a lot, but I'm just saying, like, I forget that I'm actually paying for the service. It's that good, where it's just now a part of our home budget. Like, it's budgeted.
Can you tell me what was traveling like for you prior to this? Like, prior to 18 months ago, what was that like?
Sure. Now, I've always had a taste for good traveling, but that meant that we could only go like maybe once a year, because for me, traveling is like, if I can't do it well, I'd rather stay home. So for us, it would be like bigger, it'd have to be more time for the bigger thing. And now, with the traveling that we've done, we've elevated it even more. And I won't be the one that's saying like we're not paying anything, but it's so minuscule to what the cost would be for what we're getting. It's been amazing leveraging skills. I mean, like even my financial literacy has taken leaps and bounds doing this, because I realize everything is tied together, right? So being able to find the right cards, the right travel cards, having your credit, be able to walk you through these doors, excuse me, and then just thinking about our daily spends in a different way. Your car insurance, the gas and electric bill, all these grocery shopping at Forex. I mean, like these things that we ordinarily are going to do anyway, being able to leverage these credit cards, it's a game changer.
Would you say that if people get started in points and miles, not only is their travel going to be better, but their life experience is going to be better?
Absolutely. Bar none. My son.
How does it affect your son now?
My son has more stamps in his passport at 10 years old than I did at 20. I think I started traveling really around like 25. Okay. And so, it's amazing. I mean, that he really has become a global citizen. He's been able to see kind of the more depressed populations as far as like being able to really be thankful for what we have. All the way, kind of up, like, wow, like, okay. Like,
you're from what city? What city? Are you from Baltimore?
Originally I'm from Connecticut, but I reside in Baltimore, Maryland. Yes.
So he sees what Baltimore is like, but there's something beyond Baltimore.
But there's something beyond that.
Does he talk different? Does he say things to you differently that you go, I would never have thought he would?
No, absolutely. I mean, when I was growing up, a great meal was like, going to McDonald's. This kid is asking for sushi and steak. You know what I mean? Like, there's no more ordering on the children's menu. Like, and you're like, oh my God. But that's the experience that he's had. It's just like, this is, if we're doing it, we're doing it. And especially the Globalist breakfast benefit that you get with Hyatt. He's able to order what he wants on the hotels that would allow us to eat in the restaurant. So this kid's like doing steak and eggs. You know what I mean? Like, so it's really elevated all of and it's, like I said, it's been amazing.
You mentioned about getting global status. Was it difficult for you to do that? I mean, do you feel like it was a challenge to do that originally?
If I'm honest, I will say no, because you were able to get us the challenge where it was 20 nights. And at that point, because I was on the hunt for the right credit cards, I was able to get those transferable points from the Big Blue Bank. And so I had a cache of points that was ready for that challenge. And so, I did have to put some cash up to make it to my 20, but I had such a good stockpile of transferable points that it made it an easier venture for me.
Let's say this. Let's say now that you know what you know, because at that time you were not a globalist yet, but now that you've been a globalist and you've had it, would you renew it?
Yes. I mean, that's globalist. I mean, like, as long as I'm living and God should allow me to be so, I'm going to be a globalist. Like, that's just done city. Like,
well,
I can't go back.
I say this because I know there's some people are going to listen to this and go, I'm a big Marriott fan. And I got gold status from Marriott because I have the Amex Platinum, for example. Should I make this trek to make my loyalty switch to Hyatt? And even if I didn't have those big points, to fund it, should I even be paying cash to go? And I got a globalist challenge, because there is a globalist challenge right now. Should they go do the globalist challenge? I guess maybe that's what should you tell them?
If they can. So I will not say, hey, you should leave Marriott and go to Hyatt. I won't say that, because I actually also have status with Marriott as well. However, in my experience, I have found more value for me and for what makes sense for my family in the tangible things that we see by the quality of rooms that we've been able to stay in, having our breakfast taken care of, having, parking taken care of, no resort taxes. All those things have equated to be very meaningful for me. So I choose to always have until death do us part, my globalist, my globalist status. But I would say that in this day and age, it's great to have options. So the option to be able to do this globalist challenge right now is a great opportunity. And then if you still want to have your Marriott, that's great too, because that just kind of opens your playing field to where, you have choices where to stay. But I find extreme value in the Hyatt brand. I do.
And maybe we'll wrap it up with this. Now that you got your upgrade, and now that you've gotten your global status, what do you feel is maybe an area that you would like to get better on in your points of miles journey?
My next bucket list is to Africa. Mm-hmm. And so I would love to take my family on safari. So right now that's the North Star with me. Trying to figure out what's the next credit card to move into. What's the next hotel brand? Should I try and surge into Marriott? Are there, what Hyatt, where are we going? I think the one thing that it stays in my mind that you taught us is to not necessarily follow the destination, but follow the deal. That's how we ended up in Brussels. Brussels was like never even in my lexicon. Norwood is like on my trip, but that was one of the most amazing trips that we had gone on. And so I'm like, well, I'm sticking with what Ben says. Like, even though Africa is a heart's desire of mine, I'm following the deal too. So I just kind of I need to get more on what's the next card, what's that play, and trying to put it all together to make sense. That's me.
Absolutely. I mean, if you get to Europe or if you get to the Middle East, it's within stone's distance of there in terms of getting there. So if you found a good deal getting to either one, especially Middle East, you could make that into a trip and make that the stopover.
That's awesome. See, again, this is the value that you get with this man. This is not a paid endorsement, but you guys have to connect with Ben's Big Deal. I mean, it's life-changing for you and your family in a way where it's really, really responsible. And what I mean by that is I'm not going into debt. We're being really, really smart about how we're doing business. And so all of our normal spends, we're just taking that and we're choosing to invest that into points. And we're having these amazing, it's a good time to be in the Camacho family right now.
And just curious, when we talk about using cards, we're using it as the method of payment, not necessarily carrying balances and interest on it.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
We're paying it off.
Paying it off either weekly or monthly before interest hits. Because if you start paying interest on your points, it's not worth it. Right. So, with great knowledge comes great responsibility. So I understand, and we all understand, that if we're going to use our credit cards, you have to leverage them properly, which is I'm using them as debit cards. We never make a charge unless we know how we're going to pay for it in advance. And that's even grocery shopping. I mean, budget is not a bad word. It makes you really smart.
How have you opened any business cards since we started down this road?
I have.
Okay. Was that a major challenge or breaking through to go? Even if you didn't have a big business, was that a challenge for you, or did you just kind of jump into this is natural?
You know what? It was natural in the extent that I was already doing business and hadn't thought about it to leverage for business, to get a business credit card. But again, when you're with people who are knowledgeable, you have a way of opening up like kind of like an enlightenment and being like, hey, have you considered this? You never say do it. It's more, you always present it as, have you considered this? Here's an option. And then, I'm like, it was like a light dawning, like, I do have a business. Why don't I have a business credit card? Okay, I got a business credit card. You know what I mean? And was able to leverage that on points as well. So, it's just having the right tool for the job.
That's awesome. Thank you, Kendrea, for your wonderful sharing and testimony. I appreciate so much for you joining us.
Thank you, Ben. Like I said to you before, I am so honored that you are my mentor. Thank you for always being available And thank you for this group, really.
Thank you.